What's going on, guys? Sean Nalawani, SeanNal.com, RealScienceAthletics.com. And in this video today, I want to talk about the fact that if you're someone who regularly watches YouTube fitness videos and follows fitness-related content on social media platforms like Instagram, chances are that you're probably in quite a bit better shape than you realize. Now, being in good shape is obviously a subjective term, so I'm more so just offering you my own perspective on this. But what I think a lot of people forget, especially beginners, but even more advanced trainees fall into this as well, myself included, we forget that the online fitness community and the real everyday world are two pretty different things. And if your mind is constantly absorbed into this online fitness world, you're actually getting kind of a warped perception of your own physique and how it fits into the overall grand scheme of things. Okay, the reality is this. If you're a guy who is somewhere around, let's say the mid-teens body fat percentage wise, give or take, and you've been weight training properly and consistently to the point where you have some decent muscle mass on your frame and to where it's obvious that you lift, and to where if you took your shirt off, you know, the average person would look at you and consider you to be in pretty good shape, then in terms of physique aesthetics, you're already way ahead of the curve just from that alone. And it probably puts you in the top, I would say 1 to 3% straight away, depending on your exact condition. So if you took 100 random guys off the street in your age category and you put them in a room, if you're a dude who eats well and lifts consistently and has a body fat percentage around the mid-teens, you'd probably be either number 1, 2, or 3 at the very worst out of all those guys. Again, in terms of what we would consider traditional physique aesthetics, which is pretty good if you really think about it. I mean, if you were in the top 1 to 3% of wage earners, you'd probably consider that to be pretty impressive, or top 1 to 3% in pretty much any area. But the issue is that with the online fitness community, the people who end up getting the most attention and the most followers are not the people in the top 1 to 3%. It's literally the guys and girls with some of the best physiques in the world. And if not the best in the world, there's still people on the very far end of the bell curve with top tier genetics. And you're just seeing this over and over and over again in your feed from all these different people. And so you start thinking that that's normal. And then you're comparing yourself to that, which again is giving you a skewed idea as to how you actually look. And then this gets even more confusing because the people you're looking at are also typically running businesses of some sort and are kind of, competing with each other for attention. And usually their ego is on the line to some degree as well. And so they always want to put their best self forward. So the videos and images you're seeing of these people are usually fully optimized versions that make them look as good as possible in terms of, the lighting and the angles and flexing and pumps and these kinds of things. So you're often taking top tier genetics and then enhancing it even further through these various methods. And I understand this because if you're a fitness content creator like myself, there's literally millions of other people out there putting out content as well. And so you need to put your best self forward if you want to get any real attention. I post optimized flexing pictures and things like that on my Instagram too, because it's just kind of part of the whole deal if you want people to follow what you're doing so that you can get your message across. But it's just important to be aware of this and be aware of the fact that this isn't how people look when they're just walking around in everyday clothes. And I do make sure to continually mention this throughout my content as well, so that people have a realistic idea of things. Because if you don't highlight this to your audience, then what you end up with are a whole bunch of people following you who actually look great relative to the general population, who the average person would look at and be pretty impressed by, but who are then convinced that they look like crap, or at least that they're just mediocre because they're not matching up to all these people that they've subscribed to online. You can't just stand there and look in the mirror relaxed under some random lighting and compare what you see there against a set of Instagram photos, because it's just not a reasonable comparison without taking all these other factors into account. And I'm of course not saying that you shouldn't strive for improvement and maximize your own potential in this area if that's something that you're wanting to do. But I do think that along the way, just for the sake of your own happiness and mental well-being and to make the process more enjoyable, it's very important to keep things in perspective and to not take for granted what you've actually achieved. Also keep in mind that the average person out there on the street, they're not looking at this stuff in the same way that you are. Not that this is all about what other people think, but my point is just that other people who aren't spending all their time on YouTube fitness or Instagram fitness, they're not holding you to the same standards that you're holding yourself to. To them, as long as you're in pretty decent shape, you've got some good defined muscle, a relatively lean body fat, they probably think you look really good physique-wise and are probably envious of how you look, even if you don't think you look that impressive. They're probably looking at you in the same way that you look at these other guys and girls out there with the really top tier physiques. So The bottom line here is to remember that health and fitness is something you should be doing to enrich your life as a whole and to make it better. And if it's just becoming a source of stress and comparison anxiety, then I'd say you're ultimately doing it wrong, and you probably want to make some shifts in your mindset and in the way that you are approaching things. So that means comparing yourself not just to people who are ahead of you and quote unquote doing better, but also being aware that a lot of what you see online isn't realistic in the actual everyday world. And also making sure that if you are going to compare yourself, make sure to do it as well with the general population at large, because that will give you a much more accurate picture of things and help you to see that you probably are doing a lot better than you give yourself credit for. So I'll leave it there, guys. I hope this advice was helpful. If it was, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos. Make sure you're following me over on Instagram as well for more daily content and other updates. It's at Sean_Nalwani, and the official websites are over at SeanNal.com and realscienceathletics.com. The links for that are in the description box. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.